What's up everyone, this is Duststorm here. I have my Xbox One Day 1 edition right here. And I'm going to do a little unboxing video, but I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a comparison from the Xbox One to my Xbox 360 Slim I have. This is actually my travel Xbox that I use, and ignore the birds. They'll probably squawk a little bit through this. But yeah, so I'm going to do a little side-by-side comparison. This is the original Slim, the first Slim that came out. Not the new one that's supposed to kind of intimidate the new Xbox, the Xbox One. So I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison. I have all the cables from the Xbox Slim that came with it, with a few extra cables, like the plug-in charge kit, because I got one for the Xbox One controller. So I'm going to open that up. So let's go ahead and get this thing opened up, shall we? Alright, so I've got a knife. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Get the security tape off, and then again, my birds are going to be making some noise probably during this video, so ignore that in the meantime. Ooh, hello. So there we go, we got a nice, actually this is upside down I think, but anyways, go ahead and turn this around for you guys. There you go. The Xbox One Day 1 edition comes in the black box. The regular Xbox Ones come in the green box, but first we got we got the Connect sensor here. It's a nice big brick, nice long big cable to go with it too. The little protector on the end. That's a weird looking connector too. I don't know how well you can see that connector at all. I don't know if my camera's going to focus or not, but we'll do a close-up of that later. But it looks like some kind of expanded USB 3 slot of some kind. But it's even got its own little fan in the back. That's how much power this thing probably pumps out. So, but yeah, that's the Connect. Go ahead and take off the plastic. That's one pet peeve of mine, is whenever I see someone with technology and they leave the frickin' plastic on. So, take that off. Next we got is here's the new headset. Go ahead and open this up. So this headset's supposed to be a lot better, supposedly, than the one that came with the 360. So go through that, but it's a little more sleek design than last time. The microphone's on the inside of the headband, which is a little bit different as well. So if you want to flip it on the other side, looks like you had to finagle it a little bit to do that, but that's the headset, and it's got a interesting little connector on the end too, and it's actually got big buttons on it this time. I don't know how well you can see that again. I don't know if my camera's going to focus, but yeah, so a big mute button and volume up, volume down. So that's the headset there. Put that out of the way, and of course we got a quick setup guide. Got an Xbox sticker. I'm not going to need the quick setup guide pretty much. I mean, I hope it's self-explanatory for the most part. This looks like the Day 1 achievement that you can get. So the QR code that you can scan using the Connect command, or you can use the 25 character code as well. So you can probably redeem that one online. This is the Xbox Live Gold card. I don't see how long it says. That's for. So, 2 weeks. So, another code that I'll probably use at some point. Hopefully you guys didn't see that or whatever. I'm probably going to use them before posting them, but at least the Day 1 achievement. Safety guide. Yeah, I'm not going to really need that. It's probably going to go in the recycling pretty quick. We got the big charger, so typical brick fashion, of course. So go ahead and take this out. So it's about the same size as the previous brick, maybe a little bit bigger, and it's actually proper brick, not actually curved like the last ones are. But it's got the similar gloss on one side, and then the matte finish on the other, similar to the box and the console, no doubt. We're going to put that one down for now. And do the comparison to the old one here in a little bit after I get the rest of this unboxed. Again, taking all the plastic off because I'm just that way. Yeah, it's almost like every aspect, because even the connector has the glossy finish on one side, and then there's a little bit of matte finish as well. So, getting all that plastic stuff off and out of the way. And then standard 3-pin power cable that goes into the power brick, of course. So, no fancy gloss there, just normal power cable. Fancy that. Let's see, here we got the HDMI cable that comes with the console. So, on the past console, and I'll show you guys in a little bit, it came with the RCA connectors, so the regular yellow video, and then the RCA audio, the red and white. So these are supposed to be high-speed HDMI. Most cables these days that you can get are high-speed. It's just a matter of quality and brand at that point. But supposedly, from what I hear, this is supposed to be 4K rated, and you can get other 4K rated HDMI cables that are pretty cheap as well. But yeah, it has the same kind of similar glossy finish on one part, and then a little matte finish on the other, just like the connect adapter and the power cable. And here is the controller. Now, I played around with the controller a little bit at PAX when I was playing the Battlefield 4 Alpha or Beta, whatever you want to call it, and Loco Cycle. And one gripe I still had was with the thumbsticks, just the looseness of it. But here's the controller, and of course we'll do a side-by-side comparison in a little bit. And I mean, it's a very you've probably seen from another bunch of unboxing videos. It's very natural progression in terms of feel and button layout and everything. It still feels very much like an Xbox controller. Feels a little smaller than what I've been used to with previous controllers for the Xbox 360. And with someone with bigger hands, you would think that at this point Xbox would go ahead and do something where you have different size controllers, but of course I'll do a comparison here in a little bit. It's still a little loose, but it's a little tighter than I remember, so maybe that's not such a bad thing. Battery compartment on the back, and it comes with 2 AA batteries, so we'll probably go ahead and use the plain charge kit though, so save these for something else. And that is the first layer. That's all the extra stuff. We'll throw that in the ground. And of course we come to the big thing of the box, of course, which is the console. And the nice thing about these boxes, at least for the packing boxes, I get to use them to store other things in them. So I'll definitely keep the box and do something with them. Probably put games or something, or Blu-rays that I buy, use that as a storage box. Recycle all that later. Take off the plastic wrapping for the console. And there we go. I actually managed to open it upside down, believe it or not. And there we go. It is significantly bigger than the 360 console, than the Slim. I have a original 360 that I could use. It's a Halo 3 one that I could probably pull out and compare it to as well. But I mean, it's pretty much what you've seen on all the videos for Xbox before. You have the power button, disc tray with a sync button up on top, and then the eject is up there on the left-hand side, or right-hand side for you guys actually. USB 3 on top, and then on the back, of course, we have power, HDMI out, optical. We have HDMI in, that's for TV, and for if you want to plug something in like your old 360, or if you are going multiple platform, if you want to do your PS4 or PS3, you can probably plug it in there as well. two USB 3 ports, a connect port, an RF out, so that's to control your TV and your stereo systems if you have that control. That's where that TV integration comes in. And then of course you have a LAN port, but it also has built-in Wi-Fi, so you can do that as well. And a security lock. And if you actually take a look at the top, it's big vents in there to let it out, and I think I see a fan. Can't exactly tell, but there's a big heat sink right there, and I'm guessing that's for the GPU of the console. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and do the plane charge kit real quick, and go ahead and open that up. And of course, I'll be doing a side-by-side comparison with the Xbox Slim and all the Xbox 360 related stuff as well. So, open this up. Of course, nice Xbox One packaging like we saw in the console box. It seems like they did a lot more work into doing all the packaging stuff for this. So, of course, the battery. That's pretty self-explanatory if I can get it out. So, there's the battery pack. It's a lot smaller than the one for the 360. It fits in just like two AA batteries instead of taking up the whole pack, so it's a little bit different this time. Put it over here by the controller. And of course we have the USB mini. Okay, well, it's not USB micro, it's USB mini. And it's 9 feet long, and it also has the same kind of glossy matte combination as all the other connectors have. So the nice thing about doing the plain charge kit for the Xbox One, though, as you guys probably know, is that if you plug in your controller, then it doesn't do any communication over wireless. So it does it all over the USB. And for someone like me, I've bought primarily wired controllers, and I bought wireless for whenever I have friends over. And I always play with the wired controller because there's just that split second that you get with a wired controller over wireless. So I'm really looking forward to using this. And I may even get an extension cable because I like having the 16 feet sometimes, so I can sometimes lay in bed and play Xbox across the room and have that wired controller. So looking forward to that. So I'm going to pause the video real quick, get everything set up, and I'm going to do a quick comparison of the Slim Xbox, the one I have here, compared to the Xbox One. Alright, so this is everything pretty much set up side by side, except for the consoles, of course, because that's a little bit difficult with all the space here. But as far as things are concerned, here are the controllers. You can kind of see the difference. Gonna hold them up, but you can tell just from the size, the Xbox One controller is a little bit, just a tiny bit smaller, not too much, but there is a little bit of a size difference between the two. You can tell the shape is a lot more defined on the Xbox One controller. A lot more clear-cut corners, and where the Xbox 360 one is a lot smoother, a lot more curved. And you can see the D-pad, how it's raised in here, and some people claim that it's really inaccurate. I've never really had much of a problem with the D-pad, personally. I don't know if that's just because I have bigger hands, but you can see the D-pad here, it's a little bit more defined. It actually clicks a lot better than the D-pad on the 360 controller. It's a lot more well defined, and the well doesn't stick out nearly as much as the one that the 360 does. Button layouts, very similar in terms of spacing. Sticks are a little bit smaller on the Xbox One controller. I don't know how that's going to work with my big hands, but the design is a little bit different. It has the textured rubber on the side of the stick, so it's a little more easier to grip than on the 360 controller, where you just have the little 4 dots to put your fingers on. The guide button, very significant, where it was in the middle for the 360 controller, and you had the tendency to accidentally hit that a lot. Now it's on the top of the Xbox One controller, which is very nice and very convenient placement. And then you have the two different buttons here. I think one's menu and one's view. I think the one on the right hand side is menu and the one on the left is view, versus the back and the start button on the 360. The buttons on the A, B, X, Y are a tad bit closer together. I don't know how well you can see the comparison there, but they're just a tad bit closer. Everything's a little bit tad bit closer together. Not too much of a difference, so to speak, but like I said earlier, it definitely feels a little bit smaller in my hands, so all the things are brought in a little bit tighter, and the controller is definitely a little bit smaller. And of course you have the Day 1 logo on the controller for the Day 1 edition that I bought. On the top of the controllers, you have, this is the interface for the plug and play and the sync button. You have the sync button in a very similar location on the Xbox One controller, and the USB Mini for the play and charge kit. You have the battery packs, which is significantly different. On the 360 controller, for the battery pack, it was one of those things where whenever I put my hand on the back, it's where do I put my other fingers? My middle and my fourth finger always had to have a place to go, and it was either go all the way down the controller or go on top of the battery pack. So I like how on the Xbox One controller you don't have to worry about that anymore. The battery pack is built flush right in. It doesn't stick out like it does on the 360. But of course that battery pack doesn't exist on wired controllers. I usually don't have much of a problem since I'm a wired person anyways. And as you can tell, there's a lot more definition in the grips and the actual curvature of the Xbox One controller versus the Xbox 360, where it's a lot more curved, a lot more smooth, and just, I don't know, the Xbox 360 controller just feels a lot more natural to hold just because of the curves that it has implemented versus the Xbox One controller, but it still feels very comfortable to hold compared to the 360 controller. So I'm going to have to get used to this just for the new games. I hope they come out with a different size controller, because there are a bunch of different gamers out there that have different size hands, and it's a very big concern for some people that I know that I've talked to, having small controllers for people that have smaller hands like children and women, and for those that have bigger hands to have a bigger controller that kind of fits to the gamer hand size and play style. So it'd be nice if Microsoft actually would come out with a different size controller than this one. Last thing to point out, of course, is the bumpers and the triggers. Probably one of the other drastic changes to the controller that they made between the 360 and the Xbox One. The bumpers are freaking huge, and it's a little bit more noticeable because they actually go in a little bit more on the Xbox One controller in order to click versus the 360 controller. And for some of the controllers that I've had, I've known these to die out over long-term use. So it's actually probably a little bit better design on the Xbox One to make them last a little bit longer as well. And then the triggers are a little bit, they're a little bit bigger on the Xbox One controller. Definitely a lot wider, probably about the same length. It doesn't go nearly as far as it does on the 360 controller. You don't have to go as far to pull the trigger. As far as how it feels, there's a lot more resistance on the 360 controller versus the Xbox One controller. There's a lot more smooth on the Xbox One controller in terms of the sticks and the bumpers and the triggers. So all in all, I think I'm gonna like getting used to this controller other than the sticks. See how much the resistance of the sticks plays into how I game on the Xbox One, but that is something that remains to be seen. And maybe if they come out with a bigger controller and maybe has adjustable resistance or something like that, that might be a little bit better for me. So that's the two controllers. Again, you have the 360 controller and the Xbox One controller. Very similar in design, lots of little aesthetic changes just between the different consoles. Lots of little changes in terms of layouts for the buttons, big things for the triggers and the bumpers, and of course the back is significantly different as well. Next, moving on to the headset. This is the headset that comes with any 360 Slim nowadays. The headsets kind of vary between which console you got depending on the age of the console and everything, but this is the one that comes with the Slim. I know the ones that came with the original 360 were a little bit different, where you had the mute switch and the volume knob actually on the connector, the controller connector. This one's a little bit different. It has the 2.5 millimeter audio jack, and then it has on the actual cable the mute switch and the volume control, and it has the big old circular earpiece and then the microphones on the outside with the wind buffer as well, and of course it just goes on your head thusly. Of course it can go either side as well, not that hard to get. Then you have the Xbox One controller, or sorry, not the controller, the headset. Kind of goes back to that classic controllers on the controller connection. So you have a big mute button and you have big volume up and down buttons as well. And the connector is kind of like a multi-pin USB expanded mini connector of some kind. It's definitely a custom connector, and they've kind of gone with a lot of custom connections for the Xbox One, of course. And this is instead of just a regular round cable, they have a flat cable for the headset. And of course, nice new sleek design with the gloss finish and matte finish, kind of half and half. Interesting thing about this headset, like I said before, is the microphone is on the inside of the tilt. So whenever you want to switch over, you're gonna have to finagle it just a little bit. But yeah, so this one's pretty cool as well. Not much. I mean, it's visually different. I don't know how the quality of the audio is going to be compared to the 360. I know codec's a big thing for it, but we'll see how the two headsets kind of compare after I get my console up and running. Of course, last thing, you have the Xbox 360 logo on the side of that one. And then on the Xbox One, you have the nice Xbox glossy finish. I don't know how well you can see that, but that's for the Xbox One headset. Moving on to video cables. This is the cable that you get with any standard Slim. It's RCA video and audio, so you only get the 3 pins. And that's the one that you get by default. I know for the premium consoles, or the Pro consoles that you would get back in the day on the original Xbox, had the 5-pin component with the extra yellow that you could use for RCA as well. So there have been different kind of cable connectors that you could get, but this is the one that comes with the Slim nowadays. It's your typical RCA, and it has that big Xbox video port that everyone has known and loved for the last 8 or so years. The Xbox One, of course, since it's all HDMI, comes with a fancy HDMI cable. And of course it's half gloss, half matte finish. And I think it's about 9 feet. It's either 6 or 9 feet cable. I actually have an Xbox 360 branded HDMI cable as well that I bought off of Amazon when they were doing a sale. So I got this for like $7. I actually bought 3 of them because I use it for capture card as well. But you can tell the Xbox 360 has a gold-plated finish, and that's usually pretty well known to be one of the better connector types. And the HDMI cable for the Xbox One is not a gold connector. So in terms of connectability for both of these, they both say HDMI high speed, so they're probably the same quality, as I'm gonna take a guess, with the golden one probably being a little bit better than the silver one. But you can get these the Microsoft branded or the Xbox 360 branded ones on Amazon for really cheap. But of course, the Xbox One does come with its own HDMI cable because you have to have HDMI in order to play it. That's the only way to play it. So not much difference between those there, other than you have the fancy glossy matte finish with the Xbox One HDMI cable. Alright, on to the Play and Charge kit. So this is the one that we have for the Xbox One. Of course, the battery pack is kind of like a just 2 AA batteries stuck together. Very lightweight, a lot lighter than just 2 normal AA batteries would be, actually. So that's very interesting. For the Xbox One controller, of course it just plugs right in just like you would normal AA batteries, and it has a little pin connector on the end. That's for the battery status, so you know which way to put it in and line it up. So you just stick it in, put the battery on. It's flush with the back. It doesn't stick out like the 360 controller does. And then to charge it, or to plug in for non-wireless use, of course, you just use the micro USB cable that comes with it. It has, of course, the glossy matte finish, just like all the other cables do. You can probably use any other micro USB cable. Of course, these are specifically designed for the Xbox controller, so you're probably going to get maximum charge rate out of these cables specifically. every manufacturer likes to do their own specifications, and they like to match everything up in terms of voltage and amperage and all that good stuff. So of course, use the one that comes with it. It has a nice little LED indicator on it as well. Not sure how well you can see it on there or not, but it's right there in the middle of the micro USB end, and that gives you some charging status of your controller. So that's the plain charge kit for the Xbox One. And of course, for the Xbox 360, a normal battery pack that you get comes with where you can put 2 AA's in. I mean, it's significantly bigger than the 360, or sorry, not the 360, the Xbox One battery pack. Of course, that one's integrated, this one's not. So, of course, this one is the battery pack for the 360. A lot heavier than just 2 AA batteries for this one. So it has the battery contacts on the back. That's where it actually does the charge. It's not on the bottom like it is if you're just doing regular batteries. And of course, that goes straight into the 360 controller. And then the big plain charge kit has the connector that goes on top of the controller. So it just plugs straight in on top. And then of course you have a charge indicator there as well. So that's the 360. And then for the Xbox One, you just plug that straight in. So it's something where it's a lot smaller profile for the Xbox One controller, because it's just standard USB micro. And then you have the big one for the 360 controller, which has the big indicator on it as well. And then just it matches up with the battery pack on the back, which is one of the reasons why it's so big. And of course, typical USB ends for either one. So both of the plain charge kits were the same. I just bought both of them at Toys R Us. Both of them went for 20 bucks or 25 bucks, I can't remember, but I remember both of them were the same price. So plain charge kit doesn't, I mean, it's kind of the same pretty much. One's just based on one controller and one's based on the other. So that's the plain charge kit. Now moving on to the battery, or sorry, not the battery, the power brick. So this is the one for the Xbox 360 Slim. As you can tell, it has the rounded corners with one vent on the back with the power indicator right there, and the electrical wall cable that goes there. A couple little vents on the top. This is a nice rounded profile. Little rubber knobs on the bottom for you to place on the floor. And of course the 2-pin wall cable that goes into the power brick as well. And then for the Xbox One, it's literally more like a brick. It has the half gloss matte finish again. It has a similar vent system on the back. It has the vent right there. It has a little power indicator light that's a strip instead of a dot. And of course it has the 2-pin wall power outlet as well. All the vents are in the same place for the power brick. In terms of profile, it's practically the same size, top and bottom, width and length wise. So as far as what you're getting out of the power brick, pretty much the same, just visually a little bit different, but all in all the same exact design for both of the power bricks. So moving that out of the way. So now we come on to the bigger changes, minus the controller. The controller was a big change, but now we come to the Kinect. So here's the Xbox One Kinect, the Kinect 2.0, and here is the Kinect for the 360. One of the things for the 360, this is one that was bought with a console, so it has the custom Kinect connector. That's a modification of the USB 2.0 that goes into the Xbox Slim for the most part. So you have that connector, and you have the actual Kinect sensor, which comes with the 2 cameras and the IR sensor and power indicator. And this one, the actual whole Kinect unit tilts, so you have it go up and down whenever you have it synchronized. It tilts off base off. That would have been bad. It tilts off the base. And for the Xbox One Kinect, it actually has a little speaker array, microphone array, and it has just one camera on there, but it's high definition, so it does all of its stuff through there. Don't see anything else behind this black. I'm guessing for the 3D stuff. I don't know if that camera is just powerful enough to do all the 3D measuring on the Connect 2.0. But if that's the case, then that's where all the stuff's going to be for that. And the tilt mechanism actually tilts the whole thing right around the microphone array. So it doesn't actually tilt the whole sensor, but it's tilting on the axis of the actual front of the Connect. So it's going to be a little bit probably easier to place, and the base for the Connect 2.0 is a lot wider than it is for the Connect 1.0. So it's going to be a lot more stable to put it in different places as well. So that is the difference between the Connect and of course the connector for the Connect 2.0. It looks like a modification of the USB 3.0 port. So a little bit of modifications on both ends of the USB standards for their respective ports. And the Connect 2.0, like I mentioned before, has a big fan on the back, which means it's pulling a lot of power, doing a lot of processing actually on the Connect sensor than on the Xbox. And it has a nice vent system on top, where on the Connect 1.0 the vents are only on the side. This one has it on the side, on the top, and on the back. So a lot more power in the Connect 2.0, which gives you a lot of that extra functionality that the Xbox One advertises with the Connect, and definitely going to be an interesting experience. I'm honestly not sure how much I'm going to be using it, because I'm still a big fan of doing a lot of things with controller integration instead of the Connect integration, just because in certain cases it's a lot faster. Just how with certain things on my computer I do some things through command line instead of using actual IDE interfaces. So that's the second big difference between the two consoles. Of course, the first one being the controllers, and the second one being the Connect sensor that comes with it. Of course, this one did not come with the console. You have to buy it separate unless you got the bundle. This one comes with the console. And last but not least, the actual console, the one I tried to knock off just a minute ago, which would have been bad. But anyways, so in terms of the profile, pretty significant difference, if I do say so myself. So we have the Xbox One on the bottom, of course, a lot bigger, a lot heavier. And then we have the Xbox 360 Slim, which is on top, a lot more curvy design with angles on the Slim version than the Xbox One version, where the Xbox One is a lot more like a box that would fit into your home theater system. So your TV tuner, your cable box, your theater system, your speaker system, anything else that has kind of that box structure, that Xbox One really fits in a lot better than this. The thing with the 360 Slim, you have of course the two USB ports on the front for the controller, sync button there. My door's a little jacked up. You have the power button on the front, you have the CD tray with the eject button, you have the vents on the top and the bottom, also where the hard drive goes as well. You have the side vent right there on top of your GPU, CPU. Then on the back, you have your power, you have your video, you have your HDMI, you have your optical out, you have an array of three USB ports. Then you have, for this one, since it's a Slim, it has the Connect port as well, the dedicated Connect port, and of course Ethernet. And this one has built-in Wi-Fi as well. Another little point for the difference between the Slim and the Xbox One is the Slim can stand up like this, and it can also stand up like this. So depending on your theater setup, you can actually have it laying down on possibly another stack of equipment that you have, or you can have it standing up like on the side. So this one actually stands up in my current theater system, just because of how I have my set up, so it fits in very well. This right now would not fit in my theater system because I don't have any more horizontal room in there. I have vertical room, but not horizontal. One of the reasons because this one can't go vertical is because it has vents on both this side, and you don't want to block off any of that external heat. And then of course it has the big vent on one side and the nice glossy finish on the other. On the front again, you have the power button right there that lights up. You also have the disc tray. You're going to have the eject button right here. Both the eject and the power button are touch sensitive. You have the sync on the top with the USB 3.0. that will be for your controller if you want to use the play and charge. And of course, on the back, I already mentioned this before, you have your HDMI out, HDMI in, your power, you have your optical, USB, 3.0 ports, your Connect, your RF out, and then your Ethernet, and of course it has built-in Wi-Fi. Now, one of the other things about the console, from a difference from the Xbox One to the 360, is the hard drive accessibility that you have. So on the 360 Slim and the other 360s, it's very easy to get access to the hard drive and to change them out. Microsoft does make the hard drives ridiculously expensive to upgrade if you want to do that upgrade, but for the Slim, of course, it's on the bottom, so you just pull off the bottom, and you have a pull tab to easily take out and replace the hard drive, or if you have a friend that has a Slim, you want to take your hard drive over, so you just pull this out, stick it in, and you're good to go. On the Xbox One, however, you do not have that easy option available to you. There's no real easily accessible area or very indicated area to where you can go in and replace the hard drive. I honestly hadn't even looked up the internal architecture of this, where I've actually taken one of these apart to try to fix it and know where most of the components are. So one of the things that may come up later, I don't know with their cloud architecture if they're really going to let people swap out their hard drives, but the fact that you can only have a 500 gig hard drive to start out with, and to have most game installs be 40 gigs leaves you very limited games that you can have installed at one point. I know for my 360, at least the one I have set up right now, I have a good amount of games installed on there, probably upwards of 30 games installed on the 320 gigabyte hard drive. And with games now supporting Blu-ray discs and being installed size of anywhere from 35 to 50 gigs, for those who don't know, standard Blu-ray disc dual layer is 50 gigabytes, so you have potentially that much for just one game. Lots of graphical assets. It's going to fill up the hard drive very, very quickly. There's going to be a lot of micromanaging of games when it comes to a point where maybe during the summer you have a backlog of games that you want to play, and you're going to have to decide what games you want to have installed at one point, and then whenever you're done with that game, you're going to have to uninstall it, install your next game, and go from there. Now, of course, this is powered by the cloud, so all of the games that you buy digitally will be up in the cloud, available for you to download on any Xbox One console that you want to play it on. So that's a nice thing, and I'm going to be going digital day one. I am not getting any upgrades from my 360 games to my Xbox One games, so Call of Duty Ghost and Battlefield 4 I will be buying digitally for my Xbox One, and I'll still have those games to play on the 360 as well, because from what I've heard, there have been some hardware issues so far with the Xbox One. I haven't seen them personally, so we're going to see if I run into anything with this one. But I've had this Slim console for I think about 2.5 years now. Nothing's been wrong with it. It's been jostled around and beat up a little bit. TSA kind of broke the bottom a little bit. But this one's still going strong. I haven't had a problem with any Slims that I've had so far. And this, I'll be carrying my 360 around with me for a long while afterwards, because right now this is the platform that has the games. This one's still up and coming. So I hope you guys enjoyed the comparison video. I know there's been a lot of unboxings, but I wanted to do something a little bit different that did my thoughts on a comparison scale from what I think about the 360 and the Xbox One. Like I said, personally, I am not going to be using the Kinect stuff as much as probably some other people would. I may mess around with the Kinect features just to see what's available, but like I said before, I like using the controller. It's just a lot quicker than having to wait for the Xbox to respond to my voice. And of course, that'll be up to me experimenting with Kinect, seeing how responsive it is, and seeing whether or not controller versus Kinect is going to be a better option for me. I will still most likely be playing my 360 because I have a lot of games on there that I want to play, including Halo 4, Borderlands 2, and a few other backlog games that I need to get through, like Mass Effect and Fallout and all that stuff. So I'm still going to be playing my 360 probably about 80% of the time, and then whenever I want to get on and play a newer gen game like Battlefield 4 or Call of Duty, or whenever games like Titanfall and Destiny come out, then I'll be switching to my Xbox One for those games specifically. So a few features I want to try with the Xbox One. Of course, the Upload Studio, a couple other the Xbox One specific things that are going to be on here as well. The live streaming, the Skype integration, and all that good stuff. So, alright guys, so that's my comparison video. I got all the stuff for the Xbox 360 Slim in terms of Kinect, controllers, chargers, headphones, video cables, all that stuff for my Slim right here. Compared it to the Xbox One Day 1 edition that I got. So, if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. I'm do some video uploads for just some random game clips that I do from Halo, Battlefield, Call of Duty, whatever I play, whatever I find funny. So if you want to see some just random funny clips, go ahead and subscribe as well. And let me know what you guys think of this video. What are your opinions of the Xbox One? Are you guys looking to play it a lot? Are you looking to wait for some more good games to come out? Or are you going to stick to your 360 for a while and wait till the game that you're looking for probably coming out, like Titanfall or Destiny? And let me know in the comments what you guys think. So, of course, we have the Kinect, we have the video cables, headphones, controller, play and charge kit, charger, and the console that I reviewed, pretty much going through all the little accessories that you can get compared with the Xbox One contents that come with the console. So, thanks again guys, and keep on gaming and keep on fragging trucks.